In revenue for the 6 months ended December 2019. The 7.3 billion rand in sales figure means that profit for the period has swung into 432 million rand from a loss of 2.5 billion rand the year prior. My colleague Arabile Gumede is at the JSE, standing by with Sibanye CEO Neal Froneman. Over to you, Arabile.
Yeah, good afternoon, Nompu. Look, it certainly has been an interesting story, essentially given what Goldfields at the time did not necessarily want to keep in their portfolio and able to use it now to become a real staunch player in South Africa's market and really swallowing up quite a few. I'd like to call them the Pac-Men of the mining industry in South Africa. But let's chat to the CEO then of Sibanye Stillwater, Neal Froneman, who does join us here at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. Thank you so much for the time. It's been a hugely acquisitive business, but one that seems like it is halfway through this financial year reaping the benefits.
Yeah, certainly, and the benefits were created by entering and making the acquisitions that you've referred to at the right time in the commodity cycle. You know, so many companies, when they start making money, start doing acquisitions, and they make money at the top of the cycle, so they buy at the wrong time. You know, we built our business off the Goldfields non-core assets. We got them to work properly, and we used the cash from those to enter the PGM sector at a low in the commodity price. So we're in a good spot.
And now with the PGMs sort of pretty much flourishing as much as they are, you're certainly enjoying that move as well. The likes of DRD Gold is ones that you sort of taken up that business. The Stillwater deal was one that I think the market was most excited about. And today, officially then changing the name on the JSE as well from Sibanye Gold to Sibanye Stillwater. What's next, though, is I suppose the question, because people just look to you and say, well, you've done such great work thus far. Where to from here?
Well, we've committed to our shareholders that our first priority is to deleverage the company. When we took on Stillwater, it was a North American asset, highly valued. We took on a lot of debt, which we financed through a rights issue, and in fact did the biggest bond raise in Africa. Our share price also went down 15% when we announced Stillwater today, and it was a very transformative company event, but today it's generating a lot of cash. So where to from here? Get down our debt, reinstate dividends, but in terms of value accretive growth, our gold business deserves some attention. I think there's opportunity in the gold space, probably not in South Africa, because you know, we ultra deep level gold mines and there's not a lot left. So probably North America gold.
But that doesn't mean a divestment from South African gold, right? Unlike Anglo Gold Ashanti.
Absolutely not. We just need to make our South African gold portfolio a smaller part of a bigger gold portfolio. So we really want to be proudly South African, winning the business game on the international field, much like the Springboks did with rugby. I used to say the All Blacks, but now it's the Springboks.
All right, taking on this business as it currently stands, and hopefully we can get the graph up really of just sort of what things have looked at. I'm just going to take hopefully a 5-year view, and this is what it's sort of looked like over the last 5 years. It is going up though, right? And I suppose the question becomes the maintenance of all of that and trying to continue the growth that you've kind of seen here. As you said, yes, bring down the debt, but do you just continue to become more acquisitive, or do you then focus on the assets you do have and ramp those up to as much production as you can?
I think, you know, you got to be careful you don't get on a treadmill, and that's basically what you've described. What you have to do, you have to focus on the assets you own. You've got to turn those to value first, and I think we are still very undervalued. So we don't actually need to buy more assets to keep this profile. Certainly we need to help the investment community understand the value proposition. We're trading at about 1/3 of our net asset value. So and it's because we've grown so quickly. Our business is complex. We need to help analysts, investors understand the blocks of our business. So I don't think that to maintain an increasing value is necessary just from M&A. However, I think we have shown that we are very entrepreneurial.
Yes.
We are very focused commercially. And if there's a value accretive way to continue generating value for all our stakeholders, that's also something that is a bit different in our company. It's not just shareholders, it's all stakeholders. We've learnt a lot by being South African.
Yeah.
But if we can create value, then of course M&A growth will probably happen, but it's only if it's value creative.
Yeah, and helping investors understand is perhaps the tougher part though in all of this, right? As you said, you've unlocked a third. How do you continue to unlock the rest in helping them understand the value prop as you speak of?
So I think first of all, you've got to deliver. You've got to deliver on what you say.
Yeah.
They've got to see the earnings and the value flow through to the bottom line, so that you can pay it out in dividends. So our second priority is reinstating the dividend. We had to stop that when we bought Stillwater. And then of course, I think that any further acquisitions, you need to demonstrate that it's value accretive, but also helping the analysts, who are really the disciples. They are the ones that will take the message. Now, to do that, we need to have very focused investor and analyst days to help understand the complexity of our business. So delivery, and then helping through investor relations a better understanding.
All right. How has the electricity issue sort of affected your proceedings and procedures and even just your operations?
It's had a significant impact, especially towards the end of last year when we moved into those very high levels of load shedding. What worries me sitting here today is I hear Eskom talking about we're going to be constantly in stage 2.
Yeah.
Now, we've been able to manage stage 2 load shedding by shifting load and catching up over the next few days. If stage 2 load shedding happens on a continuous basis, we're not going to have the ability to catch up.
Sure.
And even stage 2 is going to start then seriously affecting our business. In fact, energy security is our single biggest risk on our risk register at the moment.
Sure. Any sort of plans to mitigate that risk in any way for yourselves?
Yes, we have. We are one of the companies that a few years back already tried to get approval to build a 150 megawatt photovoltaic project, and we were only a third of that was approved. It was made very difficult for us, so we were told that if we continued to push the other 100 megawatts, they would take away the approval for the first 50. But that was in a very different environment. So we had corruption underlying a lot of these issues. I'm very pleased that the minister today has opened that door. It's still not exactly clear to me exactly what is required. But nevertheless, I think business is part of the solution. And yes, we do have plans we'd like to get that initial project off the ground. But now that we have a base in Rustenburg, basically, there's another opportunity to put in a couple of 100 megawatts there as well.
Very quickly, I have sadly run out of time though, but very quickly, anything else you're looking to acquire specifically? Any sort of assets that are perhaps lurking around that you feel you could bite onto?
Well, listen, we've spoken about gold. We've also made it clear that we think battery metals, which is lithium, nickel, cobalt, vanadium, copper, we think those are complementary to PGMs. We're doing quite a lot of work in that space as well. But at this stage, there's no single identified opportunity.
How about making a battery that lasts about 24 years maybe, or something of that sort? But also, on the other end, we saw the shocking news just yesterday of Chris Griffith deciding to step away from Anglo American Platinum, that is. You're not stepping away from this ship anytime soon, right?
No, listen, I indicated more recently in a media interview that while I can still add value, and while the board thinks I'm adding value, while my executive team thinks I'm still adding value, I've probably got another 4 or 5 years to give. And so, no, there's no intentions to step away. We're really riding a nice wave. In fact, I've said it's my let's say, a personal ambition to double the size of the company again.
Sure. Well, you've certainly sent it to the top 20 of the top 40 right now. So a good job to you. Well done.
No,
thank you so much for it.
Thank you.
Hopefully we can chat again as well in the end of the financial year to discuss the earnings as well. Neal Froneman there, the CEO of Sibanye Stillwater, joining us right here at the Johannesburg Stock Exchange. We'll continue to give you a market picture a little bit later on as well. My analyst at that point will be Mark Emaselela as well, who joined us for that discussion. Nompu, though, it is back to you.